You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Rays. I am your host, Eureka, and today we are going to talk about the first week of the Rays season. It still feels like it was only yesterday that we were running around the bases in the World Series, but spring training has come and gone. We in the show a couple weeks ago with Musab and Mikey and Chris, I brought up a few of my spring training questions, and now we finally get games that are real. There's a lot going on in spring training. However, there's not a lot that I think is tangible. I guess you can always kind of go back and say, hindsight being 2020, there was a red flag or something that we saw. But right now, it's still time of optimism. And even though it was kind of an up and down week for the first week of the Rays, this is definitely just the beginning. So I guess the best thing to do is let's go through the week that was for your Tampa Bay Rays. So the first series we played with the Miami Marlins. On opening day, we beat the Marlins. It was a beautiful start. If you like pitching, if you like defense, because this was definitely a real pitcher's duel. Tampa Bay's bats, we could not get it going, but Tyler Glasnow pitched probably his best game that I've ever seen him pitch, whether that's Pittsburgh, Tampa, or just anything. So, you're looking at just a ton of back and forth pitching matchups, and it wasn't until Austin Meadows hit that game-winning home run that the Rays really got anything going in terms. So it wasn't a hot start. It wasn't the encouraging start that I think we were all looking for. But Austin Meadows hits that huge clutch homer. It was an absolute bomb. And one thing that's great is that in this lineup, Austin Meadows is sitting right ahead of Randy Arozarena. So I think that Austin Meadows is going to benefit from having a little bit of protection behind him. So game two, the Rays were able to beat Miami again, 6-4. This was the bats got hot in the ninth, a 4-run ninth inning, capped with a 3-run bomb by Joey Wendle. Even Austin Meadows went deep again. Manny Margot goes 2 for 4 with a triple in the ninth inning, and a pretty solid effort on the mound as well. Ryan Yarbrough, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, and a big goose egg when it comes to earned runs. Yarbrough, though, once he comes out, the bullpen comes in and kind of falls apart. It did not look good in this game until the Rays were able to hit that rally. Up until then, Miami pretty much had this one in the bag, but the 4 runs in the ninth sealed the deal for the Rays, and we have a 2-game winning streak going into the third game, but the magic was going to run out because the Miami Marlins were able to beat the Rays by the score of 12-7, and this was the opposite of the opening day game. This was all offense, no real pitching standouts to talk about. What can you say? When you look at the box score, the Rays gave up a run in 7 different innings in this game. But this was like an arcade game. It was a back-and-forth offensive performance. Manuel Margot, 2 for 4 with a ribby. Joey Wendle goes 2 for 4 with a ribby. Yandy Diaz, 2 for 3 with 2 runs batted in. And Mike Zunino hits a 2-run shot for his first of the year. But this was, unfortunately, this was marred with Austin Meadows really, really, really not showing a good defensive glove in this game. Just 2 different spots, horrible defense in right field. And I know right field isn't exactly where you put your Gold Glove outfielders, but this is kind of a thing where I think Austin Meadows He could have been I know they're playing in National League Park, but when you don't have that DH, some of these guys, they're in there for a reason to hit, and unfortunately, they got caught with 2 bad defensive errors by Austin Meadows. But the one interesting thing about this game too on the mound is that you had a tandem start basically from Rich Hill and Chris Archer, and this was just something to kind of get these guys loose. They knew, everyone knew that Rich Hill was gonna pitch a few innings, and he went 4 innings, and then Chris Archer was going to come in for a while. So I don't believe they're going to be. I don't think they're going to do this again anytime soon. I think this was just to kind of get Archer back in the flow of things. He hadn't come in relief in many years, but technically he was a relief pitcher. But the idea was that you were going to get warm. You knew when you were coming in. You know what inning you're coming in. So get ready, just like it was the first inning. So I think in theory, it's a pretty good idea. I think it's nice. You think some of these bullpen games, these guys know, when you're a reliever, okay, I'm coming in the 4th or at least at the minimum the 5th inning, because you're going to put an opener out there or a kind of a short-armed starter or a long, sort of your reliever that can actually give you more than 3-4 innings. You put that guy out first, and you kind of have a schedule. Okay, we're going to go with this guy, and that's going to end the game. So I like the idea of having a tandem start, maybe with 2 relievers if you don't really have a 5th person in your rotation. But we'll see what Kevin Cash and the crew do with this one. But not a good start for Rich Hill or Chris Archer. Definitely not what we were looking for. It was good to see Archer back in the blue and white, and so I'm still optimistic that he's going to bounce back in this Tampa Bay Rays system again. And Rich Hill, still more to prove. We're bringing him in as a veteran, and I think that we'll see as it goes. He's trying to prove that he still has some gas left in the tank, and I'm hoping that he figures that out too. But one of those 2 guys, if they don't figure it out in the next 5 weeks, I think that's maybe 4 starts, 6 starts for each of them. If they're 0-4, 0-5, and nothing's really going, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rays made a move. So then the Rays traveled to Fenway Park to play the Boston Red Sox, and unfortunately, they left the bats at home as well. This was the first game, an 11-2 loss. Michael Wacha, speaking of that rotation, he comes in and looks okay. He wasn't horrible, but the stat line of 5 innings, he only 6 strikeouts, okay, two walks, so pretty good. You're keeping guys off base, but when the bat hit the ball, he gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs. So there's some good, there's some bad. He did go 90 pitches, so that was good. The other starts, if I go back, obviously Rich Hill and Chris Archer, low pitch count as they're splitting time. Ryan Yarborough goes 5 2/3, so he doesn't pitch over 100, and Glasnow didn't go over 100 pitches either. So we're at least seeing Michael Wacha again, another reclamation project for the Rays. He like I said, some good, some bad, but it was pretty tough. When Chris Mazza comes in from the bullpen, and it's kind of odd. He got some really early action here after being added to the roster. Very, very. It might have been the same day or the day before. Just absolutely gets shelled. He gives up 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 homer, and 2 strikeouts in just 2 2/3 innings. But it ain't like the bats came either. Really, if you're looking at the hitting performance by Tampa, Randy Rosarena, he went 2 for 3 and had a walk. So it's a pretty solid day. No runs batted in, no homers, but he got on base, and that's really what you're trying to do. Brandon Lowe, he showed up 2 for 3 and a walk, so just like Randy, but It's good to at least see him. He's unfortunately been missing for that whole Miami series. He didn't really stand out at all, and we're seeing these guys, the Arozarenas, that were hot in the postseason, and he's okay so far through a few games. But Brandon Lau, man, just a stinker of a postseason after a very hot regular season. So we're hoping that regular season magic unlocks Brandon Lau again. So Kevin Kiermaier unfortunately gets hurt. He only was at bat once, but he got hurt. Not good to see Kevin getting hurt this early in the season. Mike Brasso, though, comes in and goes 0 for 3. So another not so hot performance at the plate. However, Boston, JD Martinez, man, what can you say? 2 for 3 on the day. He even walked a couple times and had a 3-run home run deep to right field. Xander Bogaerts, 4 for 5, just a machine. And a ghost from the recent past, Hunter Renfroe, comes in and goes 2 for 3 with an RBI. You just kind of want to file that one away and hope that it isn't a trend. You've given up double digits now in 2 straight games. Then they come back with a competitive game, a 6-5 loss in 12 innings. This was back and forth. The Rays actually had a 3-1 lead after 7 innings. I mean, it wasn't. It was looking pretty peachy, man. I can tell you, I watched this game in full, and you're sitting there going, "All right, we're figuring it out. All the good things are happening." Glasnow goes 6 innings, 1 earned run, only gives up 4 hits, and he has 9 strikeouts on 97 pitches. That, my friends, is a wonderful day at the office, but bullpen can't seal the deal. Hopefully this isn't a trend, but we're all getting our first real live outings here. So our closer Castillo gives up a homer to Christian Vasquez in the bottom of the 9th inning with the lead, and unfortunately just it was a very, very loud. I mean, there was only about 4,000 people at Fenway Park, but Vasquez hits the ball. Big shot, and that whole place came alive. I mean, the Rays just snatching defeat from the jaws of victory in this one. Ryan Thompson, of course, gets the loss. He gives up 2 runs with the lead in the bottom of the 12th inning. The extra innings now, of course, you've got a runner on second to begin extra innings. So we're seeing in this game, and particularly, we had about 5 or 6 runs just being scored just in those extra frames. That's one way that Major League Baseball's trying to shorten up the time of these games. Once you get to extra innings, it shouldn't take too much longer to get a hit, a bloop and a blast, or a bloop might even just score the run. So, but as far as the bats, man, this was a weird box score. If you look at it, they scored 5 runs, they got 8 hits, but they had no homers. I mean, so to only have 8 hits to score 5 runs, you're kind of hoping, or you're seeing that maybe there was like a couple guys gone a walk and there was a home run. No, this was nobody had a real standout line. I mean, Willie Adames and Mike Brasso had a couple doubles, I guess, if you look at that. But all in all, it was just kind of some guys got walked and some sacrifice runs and things like that. But the Rays then finished off the series with the Red Sox with a 9-2 loss. Once again, the bat's not coming out, man. 5 hits total in this game. But Yoshi Tsutsugo finally gets a ribby. He finally gets something to talk about on the score sheet. Mike Brasso, I guess he's having a good stretch of games. Comes off the bench, 1 for 2. He has a run batted in, but on the mound, Ryan Yarbrough just doesn't have a good outing. 5 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and only 2 strikeouts. So the big takeaway, though, man, I gotta not be so pessimistic to say let's not panic yet. There are still a bunch of those lingering questions that I had brought up, about the rotation, about these guys. You're bringing in, Archer, you brought in Hill, you brought in Waka. And you still have, Luis Patino sitting there, and the questions are starting to get there. How quickly are we going to bring up the studs as long as these bats are just not showing up? Mike Zunino, he's kind of getting the first crack at catching, but he's kind of feast or famine still. And G-Man Choi still hurt, but Yoshi Satsugo, again, how much is he kind of going to? How much is he going to contribute after? Last year you're saying, okay, he's adjusting to the USA, and of course, shortened season with COVID. There's a lot of asterisks, I guess you can put on that performance, but at some point it just has to click. At some point he just has to see what the major league level's like, and adjust. Otherwise, they might have to make a move at first base. I'm trying to think. Brassow's been pretty good so far. Nothing too spectacular, but definitely not a bad spot on this team. Joey Wendell, pretty good in his platoon so far. Started off the year with a bang. But Randy Rosarena doing okay at the plate. He had a couple really bad snafu, and that's what kind of ended the game in that extra innings game against Boston. Is he kind of had his own right field moment. Maybe there's something in the right field that's kind of hurting our defense. Meadows with two bad snafus, and then Randy just overplaying a ball, or he kind of thought the ball was going to be a lot further than it was, and just couldn't do it. Manuel Margot, just solid so far. Nothing. Again, I wish there was someone on this team that was just like, nope, you're an absolute standout. You're the one reason we're doing well. But everyone's just kind of been random. It's kind of been everybody, and that's in a good way. We want to see that in the future. In a good way, we want to see that any one of the 9 can step up in the lineup. And so we're still waiting on the bats, man. Still waiting on the bats. It's still way too early to freak out, but it isn't encouraging as it sits, and so now we're kind of looking at between that and the bullpen of kind of the bullpen kind of needing to shake off that rust. The rotation is still, we're still up in the air about, does Rich Hill have anything left in the tank? Is Archer going to come back to form? There's all these questions that right now the answers are not good, but they're not definite. So that's what I'm looking forward to as they go into this next series with the New York Yankees. New York, of course, they're not too far ahead of us. It's still pretty tight. After 6 games, they're 3-3. Aaron Boone has them. They're second, I guess, in the AL East. Well, 1 game behind the league leader. We are 5th, dead last, 2 games behind. So the Rays could sweep the Yankees and be right in the thick of things here. You're looking at their New York's last few games. They just had a series with Baltimore where they took 2 out of 3, scoring a lot of runs. If you're looking at the guys, Judge, you're looking at Sanchez, you're looking at these guys, and they're starting to. They had their own questions really about guys performing, and they re-signed LeMahieu, and kind of, are they really going to finally take over from the Rays and take the AL East kind of by force? Especially with Boston not doing so hot, they're kind of middling, and there's an opportunity for the Yankees that if their pitching can push them over. They've got the talent. They beat Baltimore. They also they lost 2 out of 3 to Toronto to start, but in those it was all pretty competitive games. They've scored 5 or more runs in half of their games, and they've scored 3 runs, two or three runs in the other. There was only one game this whole year that they've only scored 1 run. So this pitching matchup starts off with Rich Hill versus Corey Kluber. And so Corey Kluber is going to be a tricky assignment for the hitters, and Rich Hill's got a lot on his plate to keep New York at bay. So as we sit here, it's like I said, nothing to get too overworked about unless this trend absolutely continues. But I still think that this is a talented team. I still think that the answer to a lot of these questions can be absolutely a resounding successful yes, but something's got to give. We need more than 1 or 2 guys showing up to the ballpark to hit the ball, and the bullpen just has to return to form, and we've got to get some of these guys in the rotation to kind of flip that switch and have that Rays magic sprinkled on them again. But nothing is puncturing my balloon so far. So I want to be realistic about what has happened, but I want to be optimistic about what still can. So with that said, we will be here every week with Rays coverage for you, talking about the players, talking about the matchups, talking about what has happened and what we think will happen in the future. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this. We will be here every week for you, but one thing you can do is you can stay up to the minute. If you are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we are at RBLR Sports. We cover the Rays, we cover the Bucks, we cover the Lightning, the Rowdies are around the corner. We have a lot of awesome insight from all the guys on the other podcasts, and it's a lot of fun. I have fun talking with a lot of the guys here, and we're still looking for more people. So if you're out there and you want to talk soccer, if you want to talk about your Rowdies, contact us. We're definitely interested in bringing new people on board. So, but you listening to this right now on whatever platform you're on, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Stitcher, if you're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, hit that subscribe button. Give us the 5-star review that I think that we try to give you every single week. But that little subscribe, that like on social media, all of that stuff, I know that it's asking a lot, but it helps us so much more to get to other people, to get to all the fans, and spread the word about the good things that we're doing here. So once again, I am Eureka Wheeler, and more than happy to go through the Rays every week with you, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.